Hi Linda, and anybody else who wants to do their own candlewick motifs. Okay, I have a selection of candlewick motifs on the screen. These are the ones from MBX. The one on the top is the default size, which is 3mm. Now, if you don't give it enough room, they can end up at 2.98 or which is not too bad. It creates a little bit of a lump, but that's the 3mm size. Now I'm up at 244, so I'll go up a bit higher. You can already see you've got a little bit of parting of the waves in the middle. That's on the 3mm. This is the 4mm, and down at 100%, that still looks okay, although you can just see there's a little dimple in the middle. I'll go back up again, because you'll see in the next one, that dimple's quite pronounced. Right, 3, 4, 5. Now we're getting the donut. I mean the ring donut. And if you enlarge it to 6, this is what you get. A definite hole in the middle, which is obvious even down at 100%. Looks more like an eyelet. Okay, now the ones below are the ones that I created. Right. This is my 5mm, my 6mm, my 7mm, and my 8mm. And the 7 and the 8 were actually designed to be stamps, not motif run lines. You can see by the jumps. But that's not a problem, because I can soon turn that into a motif by bringing in a stamp, twirling it around, putting the start point one side, the end point the other side, and then making that my trace line. Or even make my trace line run from there to there, which will give me a straight line. Right, now, in my hoop, I've got a graphic, and it's what I use for making candlewicks. And you can see it's got numbers going around the outside of the circle. Now, I would love to take full credit for this. I can't. It's not mine to take full credit for. It was actually a gentleman, and I can't remember his name, but I discovered him a long time ago, and he showed how to create candlewicks, your own candlewicks. And you start, unsurprisingly, with number 1. But I got to find number 1, and it's down here. But before I do that, I go to Object Details, Line Stitch, Run Line, and I tell it I want a stitch length, and it's going to hate me for this, 10mm long. Right, I lay my first node on the green line. I look for number 2, I lay my second node. I look for number 3, I lay my third node. I look for number 4, I lay my node. Get on there. I look for number 5, I'm sorry I'm not faster. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you'll see what's happening in the center. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Where's 21 gone? There's 21. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, nearly there, 33, 34. And that's the end. So I click enter. And we get a crisscrossing in the middle where the donut would be. But of course this is humongously big. And we wouldn't want to digitize anything this size. So I just highlight that. I come down into object details, dimensions. It's 70.76 wide by 70.98 tall. So I'm going to call that, and it says it's not in the center, 0. I want it in the center, 0. And we'll make this first one 5 and 5. Tell that, okay, and there it is. So now I'm going to tell it I want it as a candle wick, but I need to know where my start and end point is. So I come out of stitch simulation mode. There is my start, there is my exit. It's actually a jump stitch, which I find annoying, and it should be sat here. So I click into it and I twist until my start sits like that. I'm not going to get it much straighter. It'll take my end point down too far. I click into it again and I go up into embroidery, make motif, new, I'll just call it new candlewick. New candlewick, 5 millimeters. Okay. I didn't mean to put that in there. Cancel. Make motif. It'll teach me. New candlewick. Right. Okay. 5mm candlewick. Okay. And my trace line. Okay. Now I'm going to go back into dimensions. And I'm going to tell this now 6. Okay. Embroidery. Make motif. 6mm candlewick. Okay. 1, 2. 6mm has been created. Okay. I go back into object details, dimensions, and I tell it 7. Okay. Make motif. 7mm candlewick. 1, 2. Oops. I'm giving it a midline trace point. My others had a bottom line trace point. Okay, now I go back into object details, dimensions, 8. Okay. Make motif. 8mm. Now I really wouldn't want to go much beyond that. 1, 2. But we'll go and we'll do a bigger one. 9. And if you remember, I set my stitch length for 10mm, so I don't get any needle penetrations inside my motif. Embroidery, make motif, 9mm candlewick. Okay. One, 2. Okay. And we'll turn on. Now there are no needle penetrations in the centre of that. There's one here, there's one over here. There's one on each end. There's none in the centre. So you get the nice domed look. Now I'm just going to drop this down a bit. Hide the image. Right. Go to line stitch in my object details and preset my motif. Five. Now it tells me it's 4.95. No, I want you at 5. I also want a spacing of at least 2mm between them. So that would make that 7mm for spacing. So we'll just tap on the tap one and there you go, there's the gaps. If I didn't want them to have a gap, I would just tell this 5.1 or 2. Okay. There we go. Pick a tool, Maggie. Always helps. Right. Now we'll do it again. This time I'll highlight it and tell it, give me the 6mm and make that 8. So we get the 2mm gap. Click off that, let's just move him out of the way. And we go back again. No. Undo. That looked like a hairy caterpillar then. Enter it. Highlight. 7. And ask for that to be a full 7mm with 9mm spacing. Okay. Click off. Tap the tool again. Highlight. And because I set it originally for a 5mm one, that's what's going to come up every time by default. I've forgotten where we got to. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, I do not like that. And I ask it for a spacing of 11. Okay. And none of them have got the donut centre. None of them have got a needle impression in them. But I would never, well, I'm saying I would never, I just might use a 9mm. But normally I wouldn't. So I'm going to move all these down the sheet. And bring all these over. Right, first of all, these ones. These are the MBX ones. And we'll make them blue. Okay. These were my ones. And I know I made the stitch lengths much longer than they should have been, but they're still showing needle penetrations, which I find just a little bit aggravating. We'll make them bright green so as we know the differences. And then the ones we've just made. And there you have them. I'll make them 150, we might get more in. 3mm MBX one. Got the little dimple in the middle. 4mm, dimples more pronounced. In fact, to me it looks though it's got a stitch running over it. Zap, zap. 5mm, definite donut. 6mm, you can't miss the fact there's a hole in the middle. These were 5, 6, 7 and 8, and these are 5, 6, 7, 8. I didn't do an 8. I thought I had. These, object details, 5, cancel. Object details, 6, cancel. 7, cancel. 9, cancel. I didn't do an 8. Cancel. Will teach me. Click off. And it will default to 5. Highlight. 5, 8. With 10mm spacing. So the spacing runs from one side of that up to the first side of the second one. There we go. Now you get an idea of the differences in the sizes. So, there you go, Linda. 3 and 4mm MBX ones are not too bad. I find 3mm a wee bit small. I know some people go down to 2.5. It's not a good idea. You end up with a lump on the top and a lump on the back. And the 4mm, let me bring up the needle penetrations and drop away the hoop. Yeah, you can see even in the teeny ones you've got needle penetrations in the centre, and that's what gives you that donut look. And here you can see definite needle penetrations, and that's why you get that donut effect. Now, I've started getting the donut effect in these, and I think that was my 4, 5, 6 and 7. But no donut effect in these. Now, I always set my stitch length far longer than the candlewick I intend to make, purely so as I don't get centre needle penetrations. I want my candlewicks to stand up like a domed brass button, or the domed brass tacks that you find on leather furniture. I don't like them flat. I don't like the hole in the centre. So, use the template, create your own, and get the size you want. Let's move that one up. That's better. Right, I am just about to go to bed, so I'll get this quickly rendered off, uploaded for you, and you can have fun making your own candle wicks.